She came back 7 times. She thought she was studying me. She had no idea I had already finished studying her the moment she walked through the door. I knew her name before they told me. I knew her history. I knew the specific way she would tilt her head when something surprised her, and that she would never let the surprise reach her eyes. I had been waiting for precisely this kind of woman. I had been waiting for 3 years. I want to tell you something important before we begin. Every story has a version where the dangerous person is the villain. This is not that version. This is the version where I tell you exactly what I did, and you decide for yourself. Celeste Navarro drove north for 4 hours with a file on the passenger seat she had already memorized. Dorian Ashby, 34 years old, committed to Blackwell Private Psychiatric Institute 3 years ago, 6 weeks after the death of his wife, Isabel. Cause of death, drowning. Manner, undetermined. No charges filed. 12 clinicians before her. 12 clinicians he had refused to engage. The file noted this in bureaucratic language. Patient demonstrates consistent noncompliance with therapeutic framework, but Celeste knew what it meant. He had looked at 12 people and decided they were not worth his time. She told herself she was not thinking about whether she would be different. She was lying to herself, and she knew it. That was the first mistake. The awareness of your own weakness is not the same as protection from it. Dr. Marcus Vale met her in the entrance hall. He was the kind of man who had learned to perform warmth so precisely that it had stopped feeling like a performance to him. He shook her hand, smiled with his eyes, and told her he was grateful for her expertise and that the case was, frankly, baffling. Dorian Ashby is not psychotic, Vale said, leading her down a corridor of pale stone and fluorescent light. Not delusional, his cognition is intact. His affect, on the days he chooses to demonstrate one, is entirely appropriate to context. By every measurable metric, there is nothing clinically wrong with him. Then why has he been here 3 years? Celeste asked. Vale paused just long enough for her to notice it. Because, he said carefully, the alternative was a criminal investigation, and the family preferred this. Whose family, she almost asked, his or his wife's? She did not ask because the answer, she suspected, was the same. The session room was small and deliberately ordinary, 2 chairs, a table, a window overlooking the sea. She had been told he did not speak. She had also been told he had never, in 3 years, looked away from any clinician who entered the room. He watched them the entire time, said nothing, watched. He was sitting when she entered, legs crossed, hands still, looking out the window at the water below as though she had not arrived at all. She sat, opened her notebook, dated the page, wrote his name, felt with sudden and complete certainty that he had seen all of this without turning his head. She waited 4 minutes and 11 seconds. She had decided in the car that she would wait longer than any of her predecessors. She did not know his previous clinicians had averaged 2 minutes before speaking first. You drive a dark green car, Dorian said, still looking at the water. The engine sounds like it needs the rear left bearing replaced. You left London this morning before 6 because you wanted to arrive with daylight behind you. You brought lunch but didn't eat it. You're left-handed, but you wrote my name with your right hand, which means you defaulted to formal behavior under a low level of anxiety you haven't acknowledged yet. He turned then and looked at her. His eyes were very dark and entirely still. "Hello, Celeste," he said. She did not leave after the session. She should have the drive back, the report to write, the professional distance she had already decided to maintain. Instead, she sat in her car in the Blackwell car park for 23 minutes with her hands in her lap, doing something she had not done since her second year of clinical training. She tried to work out how he knew her name. Vale had not used it in Dorian's presence. It was not on the ID she had shown at reception. It was not on the clipboard she had brought into the session. Her name was not on the outside of her notebook. She had checked all of these things twice before she acknowledged what the other possibility was. He had known she was coming. Not just that someone was coming, her, specifically her, before anyone told him. Which meant someone had. She drove back to the hotel, showered, ordered food she didn't eat, opened her laptop and searched for Isabel Ashby, the wife, the dead woman at the center of everything. There was very little. A social media presence, scrubbed clean some months before her death. A wedding photograph in a society column from 5 years ago, Dorian in a dark suit, Isabel beside him, both of them looking at the camera with expressions Celeste now spent several minutes studying. Dorian looked at the camera the way he looked at everything, completely, without flinching. Isabel was not looking at the camera. She was looking at Dorian, with an expression Celeste recognized immediately from her clinical work, from 12 years of sitting across from people and learning to read the things they could not say. Isabel Ashby was afraid of her husband, and she was trying very hard not to show it. Celeste closed the laptop, lay in the dark, thought about the fact that she had agreed to return tomorrow, and the day after, and every day for the next 4 weeks. Her phone lit up on the nightstand, an unknown number. A single text message, "I hope you found what you were looking for. Sleep well, Celeste." The Blackwell facility did not allow patients access to phones.